Hello everyone, Shri Matre Namaha. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Welcome, welcome. Always so excited to welcome all of you to this magnificent Decrypting You through the Lalitā Sahasranāma. So we have one very exciting announcement to make before we go ahead with the introduction and then the sharing session, and then of course Amma's class. So on the occasion of the Navratri, we are so happy to announce that on 17th at 7 p.m. EST, we are going to have a Lalitā Sahasranāma chanting session. And we will update you with all the links and announcements on the social media. But we are, happy to announce, excited to announce this here, and hope to see you all. So we will let you know about the details very soon. So coming back to our class today, today is our 9th session in Decrypting You. And in the last class, we explored the Namas 37 to 44 from verses 16 to 18, learning at every step how to turn inward into our orgasmic juice and to stop deluding ourselves into thinking that contentment lies outside us. These secret teachings are holding the mirror up for us, showing us that by embracing, celebrating, worshipping every aspect of Devi, maybe we can blur the lines of separation and open our eyes to see ourselves as Devi. So we often ask this question, how can we do this? How can we do that? In this process of reflection. And as you must have, realized by now that Kavita Amma constantly redirects us to do our inner work through self-inquiry. So self-inquiry is the key. And today we have a lovely Pam to share her self-inquiry with the Namas today. Also on the how to do self-inquiry, we would like to share that it is made accessible to you through the Renegade method. We have ongoing worldwide retreats, Renegade method retreats, and very soon we will have one in Milan in December. I'm going to put all the links in the chat for you to look at. So there are these exciting announcements too, along with the chanting on 17th. And finally, a reminder that our next class is on 19th November at 1:30 p.m. EST. Of course, we are going to announce it in the social media, but just, making sure that you keep your calendars free for all these upcoming events. So I'm handing this over to Pam now. Thank you.
Shri Matre Namaha. It's such an honor to be here to share reflections on this beautiful teaching that we have and that Amma has offered to us. So I wanted to go back a little bit. I'm going to share from Nama 13, which occurs in verse 4 of the Lalitā Sahasranāma. And it's Chapaka Shoka Punaga Saugundika Lasat Kachaka. And this Nama deals with the flowers in Devi's hair. And as Amma teaches us, it's actually Devi's hair that is bringing fragrance to those flowers. And how I've understood what she's explained is that the flowers represent our vasanas. So I'm the one that gives fragrance to those vasanas. And those vasanas have to do with my experiences and what I bring from those experiences or the stories that I create about those experiences. I'm the only one that's creating my own world. It's my lens. that I'm looking through the world through, and I'm the only one that can experience it. So memories from the past or projections into the future all comes from nowhere else but me. I'm the creator of my own heaven or hell. I create Devi in my own image, and I'm the sole experiencer in every moment. So there's no one but me, because even you, someone that I'm interacting with, is my projection of that person and my experience of that. And one of the things recently that I've applied this to is that doubt is a vasana that impacts my experience of the past, and it blocks Shraddha and keeps me from these experiences that are real and available. So in contemplating on the fact that I impart this fragrance, this brings me just a little bit closer experientially to that non-separation between myself and Devi. And I guess that's really all I had to share about that. So with much joy and great honor, I turn the speaker over to our beloved teacher, Kavita Amma, to hear what she has to share with us today.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Shri Matre Namaha. Welcome to this session, and thank you for that fantastic summary, and not even a summary, really an application of the teaching, which is really what I would encourage everybody to do, because you can come here, you can listen, you can have aha moments, but it means nothing until and unless it actually comes alive in your day-to-day experience of life. So in the last session, we discovered the secrets of the Nama that describes the toenails of Devi. Remember that story of how Devi creates the multiverses through the light of one of her toenails, right? And we are still in this part of this Lalitā Sahasranāma where we are describing Devi's various aspects. And one of the things that really helps me in meditating on Devi like this is to think of all of the cosmos as her form. So, and however that appears to you, you should do that. You know, however you visualize, for instance, deep space, which is something I really, truly love. I love anything to do with, astronomy. So if that's something that appeals to you, and it's especially important to see her form at this grand cosmic scale, you know, of various aspects of space, which have become really accessible to us now with the Webbs and Hubble and so on, all these different powerful telescopes. And to see that, you know, if you are looking at an image, for instance, of a distant galaxy, you see that as a sparkling gem in Devi's crown. If you see an image of a wormhole, that becomes Devi's waist. Right? So whatever, you know, however you can imagine this, it's a really juicy meditation. And then once you do that at that scale, right, then you come to this earthly plane and you do the same thing. For instance, if you're looking at a leaf, you know, if you're looking at a flower, like what aspects of Devi's form do you see in here? And then finally, you'll come to yourself, you know, and you'll be able to look in the mirror and see, oh my gosh, you know, this is her hair, this is her face, this is her body. You see, that's how you internalize these types of meditations. So these whether it is the Lalita Sahasranāma or the Vishnu Sahasranāma or Kali Sahasranāma, whatever, when you see the description of the form of the deity, it becomes a powerful tool for meditation and to expand your vision of life. That's the whole point of it. Okay, so now we go on to the next nama, which is number 45. Padadvaya prabhajala parakrita saroruha. So very, very important verse, nama, because this nama becomes the key, the gateway, the pathway for our own sadhana. Okay, pada means foot, dvaya, two, both. Prabha is luminosity. Okay, splendor, resplendence. This is a word that is coming up a lot for me because we are doing this immersion of the Nitya Devis. Jala. Jala means a web. Parakrita. Parakrita means it is beyond. Parakrita, do more than anticipated. Saroruha means lotus. Okay, so essentially, the meaning of this technically is that the luminosity arising from the 2 feet of Devi, this defeats or this supersedes the luminosity of a lotus. But then here is an important word here, jala, which, as I've told you before, nothing in the Lalita Sahasranāma is superfluous, right? Because it is written by or composed by the Vāgdevata. So nothing is wasteful. Everything has a deep meaning. Prabha jala means it is like the net. The luminosity is like a net that is diffusing through all of creation on a constant basis, as in this is a spreading web of her luminosity that holds all of creation together. So it's like a net, a web. Okay, all of creation is a web of the luminosity coming off of her feet. Now, as many of you may be aware, feet have a really important significance in these traditions because we describe feet as lotus feet. We describe feet as being revered. We actually worship feet of the deity and the guru. Because the feet are grounded, right? The feet they represent the grounding or the support of everything, right? They are the structures on which we stand. They support us. Now, why do we worship the feet of the deity or the feet of the guru? Because the thing that the deity or the guru is standing on, their feet, those become our lifeline. For them, it's the foundation. For us, it's the lifeline that will take us to our own foundation eventually, right? Now, in this case, Devi's feet are not ordinary feet, right? They are the 2 aspects of creation known as Prakasha and Vimarsha. Prakasha and Vimarsha. Prakasha means illumination. Vimarsha means self-recognition or reflection. Prakasha and Vimarsha, typically in our tantric traditions, they are called Shiva and Shakti. Shiva is Prakasha, Shakti is Vimarsha. That means when Shiva looks in the mirror, what he sees is the world, right? If he sees himself, then creation hasn't happened yet. As soon as he starts to see Shakti, he looks in the mirror and he sees Shakti. Shakti is all of the world. Then that Prakasha and Vimarsha have become 2. right? So then they become the 2 feet, the Prakasha and Vimarsha. Now, if you look at the way in which these traditions are disseminated, they are through the dialogue or an interaction between Prakasha and Vimarsha. If you look at the Vedantic traditions, the classical example of this are the Upanishads. Upanishads. Upa means near. So you're sitting near the teacher and that knowledge is flowing to you. So it is in the form of a dialogue. So for instance, if you look at the Katha Upanishad, it is a dialogue between the teacher, who is Yamaraja, the god of death, and this young boy called Nachiketa. And so all the Upanishads are like that. They are a dialogue between the teacher and the student. In the Tantras, what happens is the dialogue is between Shiva and Shakti. Sometimes Shiva is the teacher and Shakti is the student. She's asking questions and he's responding. Sometimes, so when that happens, they're typically called agamas. And when Shakti becomes the teacher and Shiva becomes the student, they are called nigamas. But this classification is not firm. Sometimes it's the opposite also. Okay, so sometimes she is the teacher, sometimes he is the student, and vice versa. But essentially what is happening here is this is the dialogue between Shiva here and Shiva in his own reflection. Okay, so for us, these 2 feet are Prakasha and Vimarsha. So in this relationship that we may have with the deity, or typically with the guru, the relationship that we have with the guru is that of this dialogue. In this relationship between the guru and the student, these feet represent the switching of consciousness that keeps happening between the guru and the student. The guru never becomes the student per se, but the guru will constantly pull the student up into the place of knowledge, provide the knowledge so that that student herself or himself becomes the guru to herself or himself. Right? So it is the feet of the guru are usually visualized on top of your head. And when we do our Guru Padaka mantra, that's what we're doing. We are visualizing these feet of the guru or the Devi on the top of our feet, on the top of our head. And there are 2 streams of light that we visualize coming down and enveloping all of us. The whole being of us coming down, radiating down, and bringing that knowledge with it. So the feet of Devi are more beautiful than the lotus. Now, the lotus has a very important significance in this tradition, in the Eastern traditions. Because when you look at the lotus, it grows in marshy areas, marshy, muddy kind of areas. But the lotus itself is absolutely untouched. It's beautiful. It remains in the marsh, it remains in the mud, and it still remains beautiful. So when we talk about lotus feet, we are actually talking about this, that in the midst of our messy lives, this knowledge that we get from the guru, from the Devi, it is like the thing that remains untouched. It remains on the surface of our murkiness, always willing to provide that beauty, allowing it to seep into that, and pulling us up actually from the depths of our murkiness and our muddiness into this beauty. Okay, so Devi's feet are Prakasha and Vimarsha. Now, another important distinction in this is to understand the importance on a more magnificent scale of this Prakasha and Vimarsha. and what it is about the 2 feet. So when we look at creation, the 2 primary aspects of creation are space and time. Right? Space and time. Without space and time, there is no creation. Time is the primordial one. Now, when you look at Devi, Lalitā Devi, in the oldest scriptures of Lalitā Devi, she is a form of, she comes from the Pancharatras. So actually the origin of Lalitā Devi is from the Vaishnava Tantra, Lakshmi Tantra. So there is this a very heavy emphasis of the origin coming or arising from the Pancharatra Agamas. Okay. And so, but yet she is the form of Parvati, right? She is the consort of Shiva, or she is actually Ardhanarishwara. She is part of Ardhanarishwara, half Shiva and half Shakti. And people usually get really confused about this. Is this Shaivite? Is this Vaishnavite? Is this what? Like, how are Vishnu and Shiva connected in this? So the way I think about this is forget all that. And I think of it only in 2 forms, which is Kali and Lalitā. It's easier because I'm a simpleton, right? I don't want so many complications. I just want to think about things very simplistically. Kali and Lalitā. Kali is time, and Lalitā is the different dimensions of space. Both are needed. Shiva is time, Vishnu is space. Shiva is not just linear time, but also non-linear time. So if you take the feminine aspect of it, Kali is time, and Lalitā Devi, in all of her emanations, she becomes space. These 2 are the aspects of Devi's feet. So one is time, the dimension of time, one is space, the dimension, all the different dimensions of space, the 3D, the 3-dimensional space. All of our problems, all of our difficulties, all of our vasanas, our suffering, our problems, our expectations, our sadness and grief and rage, and all of our issues that prevent us from rising above, rising above the murkiness, the muddiness, all of our issues lie in the context of time and space. Nothing lies outside of this. All of our problems lie in the context of linear time and linear space. Linear time because we're thinking about the past, because the past has affected us so much that it is going to impact the future. And in the past, it's not just a time, right? Think about some situation in your past that was happy, unhappy, whatever. It happened within the context of a space, isn't it? So essentially what we carry with us are these parcels of vasanas. I think of vasanas as, these parcels, little packets of frozen time and space. They have become frozen, they have become hard, and we carry that. Think of it as you're walking along with 100 pounds of stones of all shapes and sizes. Each is made up of you, a part of your past that is frozen in time and space. We're carrying that burden with us. Now that burden that we carry of this bag of bricks or of stones or whatever, however you want to think about it, the they determine which way we're going to go. They determine our future. Because I carry this stone, it's very precious to me. I don't want to let it go, remember? Because if I let it go, then it's going to change how I think about myself. This is all like the way this mind works in a very self-sabotaging way. So I don't want to let it go because it defines me in some way. And then because I don't want to let it go, I'm going to let that determine which path to take. And so as I go along that path, I'll keep collecting more stones, more bricks. And the kicker of this is we don't let go of this bag even when we die. We'll take it along with us. We'll drag it with us into the netherworlds and say, well, you know, I have this whole baggage. This is my treasure. Please, I want to keep collecting more of this. This is the next birth I want, so I can keep collecting more of them. So our account is full of this, you know, treasure. This is our treasure that we have collected in time and space. So one of the principles of Tantra is the path through which you fall is the path through which you must rise. If that is what I have collected through that experience, that is that experience, that is that pain that I must undergo or go through again to be free of it. I can't escape it. There is no escaping, right? So when we do the worship of Kali, when we worship Kali or do the sadhana of Kali, we go back in time. We go back in time to understand that there is no time at all. There is no linear time. The worship of Kali will give you this siddhi, that there is no linear time. Time exists only in the nonlinear plane. If it's not happening at the moment, it's not happening. In fact, this also is not happening at all. This is the highest teaching of Kali. If you do the sadhana of, now when you go back, this is the beauty of this padadvaya, because when you do the sadhana of Kali and you come to this realization of non-linearity of time, you automatically realize the non-linearity of space. Space also does not exist the way we think it does. On the flip side, when you do the sadhana of Lalitā Devi and understand the juice of creation, which is non-linear in space, you automatically realize the non-linearity of time. Padadvaya. When you do the sadhana of Vishnu, you will, in that way, you will realize the non-linearity of space, and therefore you also become a Shiva Bhakta. No, you cannot escape it because he is time. If you do the sadhana of Shiva in this way, you will realize Vishnu. That's why it is said in our Puranas that Shiva and Vishnu are inseparable. Wherever one goes, the other goes. They are in love with each other. They love each other. You've heard me narrate these stories many times, I think, in various situations of how much they love each other. That is the principle here. So in my own personal experience, in deep meditative states, I have seen I've had this experience of this prakasha and vimarsha in very comical and humorous and very profound ways. In one vision, Kali was creating all of the universe. Actually, not just creating and destroying. One foot here, creating, the other foot there, destroying. So everywhere she was touching, the universe was coming and going. Multiverses. But in that same situation, she just turned around and said, who's the one watching me? You see, I'm the one watching myself. Right? So this understanding of prakasha and vimarsha. So if I'm there, I'm watching her. Who's watching her? Who's the one having this meditative experience? And so that switching of that consciousness that happens is the padadvaya. And when the same devotion is a part of you, a part of your devotion for the Guru will keep switching consciousness. You will not know which is Prakasha, which is Vimarsha. And this has happened to me many times when I'm doing a puja, for instance, a ritual, particularly the Sri Chakra Puja. When I'm doing the Sri Chakra Puja, invoking the Guru, all of a sudden, I'm there doing puja to my Guru who's sitting in my position. It's a constant switching of this consciousness. That is this Padadvaya Prabhajala. Parakrita Saruruha. It is more beautiful than the lotus, her 2 feet. Her 2 feet, which are always grounded in time and space. And she is and the feet are the gateway to transcending linear time and linear space. Okay, so that is the understanding of this very beautiful nama, because this also brings to mind this very important concept, or the very important concepts in Tantra, which we will see later in the Lalitā Sahasranāma, of the 3 malas. Mala means impurity. There is the Anava mala, there is the Maya mala, and there is the Karma mala. Anava mala is the fundamental sense of lack. I'm not good enough. And it is inherent, inbuilt, unavoidable in every single creature. Why? Because you see, there is this unlimited or unfathomable force, Devi, who has become you and me. Brahmakita Janani Varnashrama Vidayini. We'll come to this nama later. She is the mother of all. Mother of all means what? She herself has become limited as this. So inherently, that feeling will always be there that I'm more than this. You all have that feeling sometimes? There's, I don't know, something about this, about me is not right. Do you get that feeling? This used to be my thing throughout childhood. I thought I was from some other planet. I was like, I don't even know what is going on here. This does not seem right. And I've spoken to so many spiritual practitioners, and they all feel the same at some point. This is the Anavamala. And you must eventually, in sadhana, you will come to it face to face. Then there is the Mayiyamala. Now, when I'm feeling this way, right? When I'm feeling like I'm not good enough, I'm going to do all kinds of things in my life to be good enough. And as I'm picking up all of this and trying to be, good enough, I don't have a point. You see, I don't have a reference point. What will be my reference point? It will be you. My reference point will be everybody else around me. And so what I'll do is I'll collect things and say, well, I'm better than you. I'm not as good as you. You see, I'm comparing becomes my reference point because I don't have another reference point. So when I don't have that reference point, I become a separate individual because my definition and my identity of myself is going to be dependent on everybody else around me. So I become a separate individual. You may be all that, but you don't know how great I am, right? Or you're suffering, well, my suffering is worse than yours. Even in suffering, I'm competing, right? So in this way, I'm trying to overcome the Anavamala, but not in the best ways. And that becomes the Mayiyamala. And when the Mayiyamala comes in, what happens is naturally the Karma Mala comes in, which is ownership. I do something, I take the credit. My kids are great because of me. They're not great because of me. I take both credit and I take the blame. In this way, I create my own jala. I create my own web. And where is all this coming from? Time and space. Because it has become congealed over time and space. Maya mala, karma mala cannot exist without time and space. Through memory, through practice, through creation of more and more actions, more and more consequences, taking it all to be me, and I am separate from everyone. See, it's a fine conundrum. But it's not really a conundrum, because ultimately, in the ultimate game of life, this whole thing is Devi having fun. Remember, nothing exists other than her. She is the only thing that exists. So she's having fun as all of our Anava Mala, Maya Mala, and Karma Mala, having a grand old time. So if you're liberated, it's she. If you are bound, it's she. Nothing is not her. And that is the fundamental teaching. So when we are going through this process of sadhana, the one doing the sadhana is also Devi. The one receiving the sadhana is also Devi. The one who is getting purified is also her. The one who has become impure is also her. Nothing exists other than her. And this understanding of the 2 feet, 2 aspects of the one, is the importance of this nama. And as we go on in our sadhana, this differentiation between the 2, it starts to blur. First, the first thing to go will be the karma mala. And that is the progressive illumination, so to speak. The first thing to go will be the karma mala. You stop taking credit or the blame for everything. And this is through the understanding that all of creation is merely the interaction of the 3 gunas, as we have been seeing in our Bhagavad Gita satsang. Everything is simply the interaction of the 3 gunas. Nothing is personal. And so once you stop taking things personally, then goes the Maya Mala. You're not so seriously invested in yourself. And then you come face to face with the Anava Mala, and that's when the fun begins. Not really. That's when all of our difficulties begin in earnest, because you come face to face with primal fear. And you cannot escape it. You must go through it. The only way to go through it is through the grace of the 2 feet of the Guru. The feet of the Guru will take us into that space, into that time, into that thing of fear, which is nothing but the illusory holding of time and space. And when you break through that, and you have a breakthrough of going into that and coming out of it, then illumination begins. Right? So, Padadvaya Prabhajala, then you understand this whole net of your own self, your own creation, how everything was really a net of time and space, which does not exist. And that whole net becomes illuminated. And this is known in this tradition as bhoga and yoga. Now you have the understanding of this net, which is illuminated, and you're enjoying it, bhoga. But at the same time, you are rising above that like a lotus. Yoga. Right? You are in the mud, but not of it. Make sense? So this nama is a very, very beautiful one. I suggest you think about it, reflect on it. We'll do one more nama. Sinjana Mani Manjira Mandita Shri Padambuja. Sinjana means it's the sound, the tinkling sound that bells make. That's Sinjana. Mani is beads, Manjira means the anklet that Devi is wearing. Mandita. Mandita means which adorn or decorate her feet. Shri is auspiciousness. Pada, again, feet, glorious feet, auspicious feet. Ambuja, again, lotus. So essentially saying her lotus feet are decorated by the tinkling anklets. Okay. Now, when do anklets make sound? When the feet are moving, right? Only when the feet are moving. But Devi is constantly moving. Right? She is time, she is moving as time, and she's expanding as space. And she's falling back upon herself and retreating back. So it is all her grand play. And all of this is the tinkling of her lotus-like feet. Now, this tinkling is also a sound that you can hear in deep meditation as that central channel opens up. As the Sushumna Nadi opens up and you are in that Nadi, all kinds of sounds start to manifest. You should not manufacture it. You should not look for it. You should not make a project out of it. If you just allow yourself to sink into that central channel, into the Sushumna Nadi, what happens is you start to hear the tinkling of Devi's anklets. Okay? Sinjana Mani Manjira, Mandita Shri Padambuja. I think of the anklets, the sound of the anklets, as also the feet of the Guru waking you up. It's like an alarm clock, right? Wake up, wake up, wake up. No, that's not true. 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 That never was true. Hello. Don't go there, right? Drop that brick. It's like a constant alarm clock, right? That is the jingling or the tinkling of Devi's anklets. So I'll stop here and see if you have any questions. We will not be having a session until mid-November because we are off on our Himalayan Yatra, bunch of us. So we wish you a wonderful Navratri and join us for the chanting on Tuesday, the 17th. We'll send more information. Any questions? Tanu, are there any questions?
There's a question in the chat which asks whether the web is like the matrix.
Yeah, you can think of it as the matrix. I think in one of the traditions, we call it Indra's net. Have you heard of Indra's net? So you can research it. Indra's net. So it's basically just a whole net. And I think of the Indra's net. Indra means senses. So the net created by sense objects and sense perceptions is like the gems of Indra's net. And that is Jala. What is Papa and Punya? Well, Papa is that which binds you in linear time and space. Punya is the one that liberates you from linear time and space. And both Papa and Punya, eventually, they don't exist. But that is something that you only come to. That's the conclusion you arrive at when you see through time and space. Until you do, Papa and Punya exist. Beyond, once you see through it, they don't exist. Okay, what is the relationship between Lalitā and Bhuvaneshwari? See, first of all, you should stop thinking of all of these deities as being separate. Oh, there is Lalitā, there is Bhuvaneshwari, they're all different goddesses. That's not true. Okay, absolutely not. Lalitā is Kali, Kali is Lalitā, Lalitā is Bhuvaneshwari, Bhuvaneshwari is Lalitā. When we want to look at a certain aspect of creation in a particular way, the goddess takes that form. When I want to look at creation only in terms of time, she becomes Kali. When I want to look at Devi as merely vibration, she becomes Tara. When I want to experience Devi as the void, the deep, dark void of absolute emptiness, she is Dhumavati. When I want to experience Devi, when I experience, not want to, but when I experience Devi as space, unfathomable space, she is Bhuvaneshwari. When I want to experience Devi as the juice of all of creation, she is Lalitā. When I want to see what it takes for her to create all of this, and that same spark is in me as the fervor of austerity, the fervor of creation, that is Tripura Bhairavi. Everything is her. There is only one. When you can understand that she is all and all and all, no separation. She is Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. She is Ishana. She is all, every possible thing in the universe. When I see her that way, she becomes Raja Rajeshwari. So Raja Rajeshwari is not just Lalitā Devi. You can say she's a form of Lalitā Devi if you're a fan of Lalitā Devi. But I would say Raja Rajeshwari is Mahakali, Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi, all of it. So the first order of business is to get over this thinking that there are all these different goddesses. They're all different aspects of the same one. Okay? If that makes sense, let me know. Or if you have more questions.
I have a question. So we talk about the orgasmic juice of life. It's basically living in the moment. Like you kind of, it's like sometimes it feels like passion, like not sometimes, like when I just completely am in whatever I'm doing, like I paint or something like that. But then how do I, there's always, so once you, that attachment, see where, how to separate that ego from that, like once that experience is over, it's like you build the story after you come out of it. It's hard. See, either I try to be either passionate or like it's like detachment. When that detachment happens, it feels dry. But how to be, am I making sense? Like,
you are making sense.
okay.
So you're saying there is orgasmic juice as long as you are engaged in something, or when you come out of it, it becomes a story. But as long as there is enjoyment, there is juice. But then when you detach from something, it feels dry.
Yes. And yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So the orgasmic juice I'm talking about is the enjoyment of detachment.
Okay.
The enjoyment of all experience without saying it's this or that. You're simply enjoying even your pain. You're enjoying your rage. You're enjoying your jealousy. You're enjoying all of it. Because ultimately, that is what Devi is doing, right? She's enjoying all these rasas because that's the whole purpose of creation.
Okay.
But we create these dualities because of these bricks that we are carrying. I want this, but I don't want this.
Okay.
And all of our suffering comes from not being able to enjoy the things we don't want.
Yes.
But once you start enjoying the things you don't want, it's a whole different ballgame. That is the true sadhana of Lalitā Devi, actually. Even when you're renouncing and you are giving up some things, if you're enjoying that, even if something has been taken away from you and you're in absolute heartbreak, and on one level you are enjoying that heartbreak, you're just delicious. Because on a very deep level, you're actually enjoying it. Even that pushing away, even resisting that, if you can enjoy that, even this feels delicious. All our pain and depression and all of our problems arise from saying, I can enjoy this, but I cannot enjoy that. So that's this path is one of bhoga. Bhoga means not having a whole bunch of things. Bhoga means to enjoy life as it is coming to us.
Okay, got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no
when you go
preference,
through those
basically.
phases, right? When you go, I totally get what you're saying. You're a non-dual meditator,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I know this from personal experience of going through phases where you feel like you're lost, right? You feel like, what do I do to get my juice back? Well, enjoy that.
Got it. Basically, no preference, just no preference towards anything. Just
No, you can have the preference. No, there is no such thing as not having preference, right? I
true.
prefer, like, who prefers to be in the middle of pain? Nobody prefers it. But if you are there, enjoy it.
Okay.
Even having a preference, enjoy that.
Got it. So let things live through you, basically. Like let life just flow through you. Don't hold on to
Correct.
anything, good or bad. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Things that
Thank
you
you so
already
much.
knew. You already know that. But
Okay.
you see how life shows you that knowing here is not the same as living it.
Thank you so much.
You're so
Very
welcome.
helpful.
Any other questions? Yeah, Gracie.
Hi, Kavitaji.
Hi.
I'm like feet a lot, so I'm really excited. And I was just thinking about in the Guru Stotram how it says, the root of puja is the Guru's feet.
Yeah.
And I feel like you unpacked that a bit around, that's our foundation that supports everything, and this is what's waking you up and all of that. But is there anything more to that?
Well, it is, yes, there is more to that, because it is one of that whole this whole parampara and this whole thing of worshipping a guru's feet is about cultivating humility. Right? It is becoming empty, right? As it is said in the Bible, empty yourself first, and then I can fill you. So here, the biggest problem we can have on the spiritual journey is to come to it with our own ideas and then say, add to it. It doesn't work like that. You have to be willing to put aside your ideas, your your preferences and your opinions, and eventually yourself. And as you become empty, this thing I spoke about, the malas, first the karma mala, maya mala, anava mala. Think about it this way. So it is a progressive emptying of yourself. First, you stop taking credit. You say, well, this is all Devi. Good happens Devi, bad happens Devi, or Guru. Right? You just stop taking credit or blame. Then you come to, well, if they have it and I don't have it, it's still Devi having it, not me having it. One of my teachers, I say, I have referred to this quite a bit, but I'll say it again. Paul Mueller, amazing teacher, incredible scholar, practitioner. In one of our sessions with him, he mentioned something that I really found beautiful. Olympics were going on at that time, and we were discussing gymnastics, one of my favorite events. And he said, yeah, did you see how this incredible gymnast who has won so many awards, did you see how she did that? It's so beautiful, right? Thank God I don't have to do that. And then she has it covered, right? So it's like, imagine if you were to see all of life like that, right? That they have it covered, they have that covered, they have that covered. Thank goodness I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So then it takes away this Maya Mala, right? Like you just say, well, that's me experiencing that through that person. Right? So Maya Mala starts to go away. And then finally, you'll have to empty yourself of yourself. which is that Anavamala. And so this, you can think of these feet as progressively coming down and occupying, like this, this being is standing above you. The guru is standing above you with the 2 feet firmly planted on your head. And the whole of sadhana is like them descending to eventually descending completely within you, becoming you. Their feet are your feet, their head is your head. But for that, you have to continuously empty yourself. And that is the act of humility. That is the process of cultivating humility. Make sense?
Thank you. Yeah, I think I still don't really grok puja.
No, you don't have to. Puja is just one of the many ways, right? There's no need to do puja. It is one of the many, ritual is one of the many ways in which to attain the same thing. Plenty of people have attained this understanding and this realization without ever doing a single puja. And ultimately, you can do all kinds of external pujas. Makes no difference if your internal landscape hasn't changed. So change that. That's the most important puja. No
Thank
need
you.
for it. Yeah. External rituals should become fun. They are an external expression of your internal landscape. Then it becomes beautiful. But if it's forced and you're doing it because you're afraid that you must do it or this or that, it's a pointless thing. Any other questions?
Hi, Kavita ji.
Hi.
I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. I have deep gratitude towards you for this. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm confused about the role of Prana Shakti. When I imagine Prana Shakti, I feel it is my heartbeat and my breath, which is life, right?
Yes.
I mean, without the heartbeat and breath, all of us wouldn't be experiencing all that we experience. So is that what Shakti is? Is that what Devi is?
She is also that. But Prana Shakti, at the most refined level, like what is making the heartbeat? What is making the breath go?
So the support is Shiva for that. I don't understand.
You can say, well, there's no difference between Shiva and Shakti, right? Shiva has no attributes. No, he cannot do anything. Anything he does is Shakti. He is simply awareness, witnessing awareness in this tradition. See, Saundarya Lahari says, right? Without the first verse, Shiva Shaktya Yukto. So without Shakti, Shiva is Shava. He cannot do anything. Right? So anything that is done is Shakti. That's why it's called Prana Shakti, not Prana Shiva. Right? So yes, the breath, the heartbeat, but then what is the more upstream thing that is causing the breath or the heartbeat? You can say, well, there is the brain activity. What's causing the brain activity? Well, it is coming from the DNA or the chemical or the electrical reactions. But what's causing that? So you see, you keep regressing, and that will be the highest form of Shakti.
Got it.
But also the heartbeat, also you speaking right now, and everything we do is Shakti. Anything that is experienced is Shakti.
Because everything I do is Prana Shakti.
Correct.
Every movement, what I speak, everything is because of Prana Shakti.
Exactly.
But then I'm not able to see beyond what is beyond this.
Yeah. So it is regressing. Like, what is causing that? What is causing that? What is the basis of that? What is the basis of, that? So you keep going back and like, what is the one that knows this? Even that is Shakti, right? Even that is Prana, right?
Got it. Yeah.
So it's like an endless regression, basically. And then when you you'll finally arrive at, what does this? I don't know. When you come to I don't know, it will be a deep meditative state. That's when you are in samadhi. I don't know.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Fantastic. So yeah, wonderful to have you all here. Wish you a wonderful, wonderful Navratri. For Navratri, we will be sharing the Lalitā Sahasranāma course, and stay tuned. And we will see you all during the chanting. Have a wonderful celebration of Devi. Shri Matre Namaha.